Today on Rebel Then King, I am finally, I mean it, for real now, third time's a charm, going to finish building out my tough Tanuki support martial character using some of the new options available to us in Battlecry. So as a reminder, I've done a few videos recently where I have tried to build out my ideal support martial character for my new campaign. I've looked at a bunch of different options, but the thing that I really want to do is kind of be a protective character. I did so by building out a Thaumaturge with the amulet implement, but there is actually a small problem with that build in the way that the other item that the character would have was a shield. I wanted to be very protective. I want to be a little Tanuki who rolls around on the battlefield with a shield intercepting attacks. The text for Implement's Empowerment actually states that you cannot have anything in your other hand other than another implement, esoterica, or a one-handed weapon. And a shield with a shield boss, which is the weapon I was planning on using, does not really count, I don't think, as a one-handed weapon. So a major source of damage for that character is not available to me. Luckily, we now have a shield implement. So here is my shield implement Tanuki Thaumaturge. Ancestry is Tanuki, background is a pilgrim, good charisma boost, class Thaumaturge of course, and I went with the new shield implement. Let's read about that. The initiate benefit, you gain the shield block general feat. Very important. If your shield implement would be reduced to 0 hit points, it's instead reduced to 1 hit point. Its circumstance bonus to AC when you raise a shield is reduced by 1. This can't reduce the bonus below 0. And you can't shield block with your shield implement until it loses the broken condition. You can still use your shield as an implement when it has the broken condition. At 5th level, whenever you exploit vulnerability, I love this ability, you can also raise a shield as a free action. Huge action economy boost there. As you level up, the adept benefit. When you have your shield implement raised, you gain a status bonus to your saves against spells and other magic effects equal to your circumstance bonus to AC from your shield. In addition, damage you take as a result of a spell or magical effect while your shield is raised can trigger your shield block reaction, even if the damage isn't physical. So, your shield now protects you from magic as well, which is not something a shield normally does. Intensify vulnerability. Every drop of blood you spill bolsters your shield. If you succeed at a strike against the target of your exploit vulnerability, your shield regains a number of hit points equal to half your level. This is so cool. If your shield is already at full hit points, you instead increase your shield's hardness by your charisma modifier until the beginning of your next turn. These effects aren't cumulative if you hit with more than one strike. So at this level, by attacking, you are literally improving your defenses, which I think is a super fun way to play. And then finally, the Paragon benefit. When you have your shield implement raised, the circumstance bonus from your shield, both to AC and to saves, also applies to all your allies within 15 feet. You can use your shield block reaction in defense of yourself or any of your allies within 15 feet. Cool new implement. Now, moving on to some of the abilities and things that I have picked for this character as we go along, and let me know if you have some other ideas for some of this stuff, because y'all have been very helpful with build ideas in the past. There's always some feat or archetype or something that is actually a little bit better than what I initially think. So let me know what you think of this build and what you might do differently. With this build, I want to focus on protection and also magical healing, which is why I went with Scroll Thaumaturgy as my level 1 class feat. I basically want to pick up heal spells and be a bit of the party healer. With this, it is super helpful that my weapon is going to be my shield with a shield boss, so I have a hand free for using that scroll. As I move on, I want to pick up Root to Life, This is basically the stabilize cantrip, but for a Thaumaturge. You place a small plant or similar symbol on an adjacent dying creature, immediately stabilizing them. The creature is no longer dying and is instead unconscious at 0 hit points. If you spend 2 actions instead of 1, you empower the act further by uttering a quick folk blessing to chase away ongoing pain, adding the auditory trait to the action. When you do so, attempt flat checks to remove each source of persistent damage affecting the target. Due to the particularly effective assistance, the DC is 10 instead of the usual 15. So, this is huge. When someone is dying and has persistent damage, that is the deadliest situation for any character to be in. You are a few turns away from permanent death, and this 1 to 2 action ability almost is guaranteed to save your allies in that situation. I also went with the Champion Dedication, which doesn't really come online quite yet, but will later, and Intimidating Glare because, charisma based, so I felt like that would be appropriate. Level 3, I went with Robust Health because this is all about being a tough character. Level 4, this is fun. Through the Champion archetype, I went with Devout Magic to get Lay on Hands, and that pairs with the level 4 class feat Paired Link. Okay. During your daily preparations, you perform a short ceremony where you gift one of the 2 halves of a little trinket or something to a willing ally. On that ally, you can cast spells and use Thaumaturge abilities that have a range of touch at a range of 30 feet instead. Lay on Hands is a spell that has a range of touch. It is now a range of 30 feet for one of your allies. And then finally, at level 5, I went to pick up the Amulet Implement, which I should be able to hold in one hand with my shield in the other, and use that Amulet's Abeyance reaction to shield people from attacks. I think this is a very fun build. It gets me very close to my ideal way to play this sort of character. The one thing I think is a little problematic, help me out if you can, is that we don't really get the ability to protect others until later on. Not until level 5 with the Amulet's Abeyance, and then that last implement benefit where we get to use our shield to improve allies' AC and to shield block on others. So this is a little bit more about being a tough individual and a little bit less about being a protector for your team, but no worries, because we also have a Guardian build. So of course, now if you are thinking about protecting your allies, the Guardian is a great option. I have a Tanuki farmhand because I want to really invest in Constitution here, and the class is of course Guardian, and Guardian does not have a subclass, it just selects feats. I am focusing on an athletics and shove based Guardian here, with, a lot of other fun Guardian things, because the Guardian has so many good feats. It is an awesome class. I am going with the initial class feat of Punishing Shove. When you push a foe away, you put the entire force of your armored form into it. When you successfully shove a creature, that creature takes an amount of bludgeoning damage equal to your strength modifier. This damage increases by 2 when you become an expert in athletics, 6 when you become a master, and 12 when you become legendary. So what am I going to pair that with? Well, with the Warhammer, which is a one-handed martial weapon that does a pretty good D8 damage and has the shove trait. On the note of starting equipment here, someone leave a comment here if you know what to do differently. I am planning a breastplate, a steel shield, and I've checked I do have enough gold to also buy the armored skirt, which should raise the AC up to 18. I don't know how to actually load that into Path Builder here, so if anybody knows, leave a comment and I'll try to get that fixed for later. But this should be a max 18 AC with that breastplate plus armored skirt. So what I like about this character right at level 1, first of all, full martial. I've never actually played as a full martial character, a +4 strength. That Thaumaturge we were taking a look at, that's a near martial. That is a charisma-based class. only has a starting strength of 3. That just full attack accuracy, full leaning into one key ability score is not something I've been able to do with most of my characters, and it's not really something I was able to do with almost all of my previous support builds. So that's just a really attractive, clean, neatly organized concept to me. And then also, of course, because this is a Guardian, I have that Guardian feature, Intercept Attack and Taunt, right away at level 1 to blunt the enemy's attacks on the entire team. And with the Guardian's armor, remember this gives you resistance to physical damage equal to 1 plus half your level. I also have extra self-tankiness abilities, and then of course shield block as well. So just so much working for this character, if you ask me. As we move on, I am again going the champion dedication, which again kind of really comes to life, comes online at level 4. I went with shielding taunt. By banging loudly on your shield, you get the attention of even the most stubborn of foes, raise a shield, and then taunt a creature. Your taunt gains the auditory trait. So this is a taunt plus raise a shield in one action. That's awesome. For the skill feat, I went with Titan Wrestler. Remember, this does affect shove as well, so that is going to mean that I can now shove creatures up to 2 sizes larger with my Warhammer, which is leaning more into that shove build. As we move on, I again went with Robust Health. You'll notice it's very nicely paired now with Die Hard, which is a free feat given to the Guardian at level 3. At level 4, I went with Flying Tackle. Now, this is not shove, but this is a trip. But if I am leaning into athletics for shove, trip is also an athletics maneuver. So this is going to benefit from any training that I increase in athletics. This is also, like the shove, it is a debuff that can do a little bit of damage, because remember, on a critical success on a trip, that creature falls and takes some bludgeoning damage. And with this, if you succeed the athletics check to trip as part of this 2-action activity, you get a critical success instead. I think that works out quite well with this sort of athletics-based build. Though I wonder, maybe should I go with like Hampering Stance or something instead? There are so many, or like Aggressive Block. I mean, let me know what you would pick. They're just so... See, automatically shoving. Maybe I do want to just stick with shoving here. Ooh, that is tempting. Let me know which one you would pick. Now I'm leaning towards Aggressive Block, and I'm just going to take it. Okay. The other thing at this level is I am again going to take the Devout Magic feat for the champion archetype to get Shields of the Spirit, the awesome new focus spell of the champion. You raise your shield, causing ephemeral spirit shields to float within your champion's aura. The shields last until the start of your next turn, or until you're no longer raising your shield, whichever comes first. While one of your allies is in your champion's aura, the shields grant them a +1 status bonus to AC, and each time an enemy makes an attack against the ally, the enemy takes 1d4 spirit damage, even if it misses. Again, a buff plus, in this case it's a buff, not a debuff, but a buff plus some potential damage. I love abilities that are support abilities, buffing and debuffing, that also do a little bit of damage. It's just like double the fun. Strictly buffing, strictly debuffing is always helpful, always good. But if you can do some damage while doing it for the same amount of actions, absolutely take it every time. That is about all I have picked for this build, but I gotta say, I really, really like it so far. So that is all, adventurers. I think I finally have some fully mechanically viable tough Tanuki protector builds, though I gotta say I'd probably go towards the Guardian out of these 2 options. Let me know which one you would prefer, or if there's some other build ideas I should still consider. I have looked at, probably a dozen different ideas for this sort of a theme, and I gotta say, the best by far are these two. So thank you to Paizo for the new Battlecry book, because it kind of seems like it is custom tailored for me. I love when you have a character concept that, was kind of mechanically not working out perfectly, and then you get new stuff and it's just like, oh, problem solved. This is what I have been asking for. This is what I didn't even know I wanted this entire time. Thank you, Paizo. Catch you next time, adventurers.